What's going on today, guys? Brotherhood of Ram here, and I am back bringing you a new video on the difference between my Husqvarna 455 Rancher and Dad's 2165 Jonsred Turbo. Now, both saws are set up very similar. Mine has a 20-inch bar, 58 gauge chain. Dad's 20-inch bar, 58 gauge chain. The only difference between these two saws is one, it's Jonsred, the other one's Husqvarna. Obviously, you can tell. Only that is 65 cc's, that's 55 cc's. 10 cc's difference, and that's older, that's newer. That's the only difference. Overall, I've run this saw and I've run this saw. I like them both. If I had to choose, I'd go with this one, just because, this one's mine, this one's Dad's. Both saws are very good. Reliable. DeBoss Garage, he says that, any vehicle, any piece of equipment, anything that you maintain, the side-by-side, the chainsaws, the weed whacker, you name it, anything will last if you maintain it, you keep up with it, and you take care of it. This saw Dad got in the early 90s, and it is now 2022. Hasn't let him down yet. Knock on wood. This saw is pretty new. It's a little under a year, I believe. Haven't had any issues with it yet, other than it didn't want to oil the bar. And when I took it in to get the bar swapped for an 18 to a 20, I let her know, and she goes, "Yep, it looks like you just ran out of bar oil, or it used it." So I was like, "All right, I'll just keep an eye on it." Haven't had problems since. Dad's, if you were wondering why it says turbo, all it is a little turbine that helps the sawdust chips to fly out and keep airflow flowing, so there's not a lot of buildup. If you were to take that side cover off, yes, there's going to be, the oily buildup from the sawdust and the oil combining, but it won't be as bad. Like, it won't be, monstrously busy in there and just a mess. Same with mine. If I take that side cover off, it's going to do the same thing. Both have, I'll show you here, it's hard because of the light, that little blue button right here, decompression valve. Same with mine, decompression button, valve button, same diff. Both pull starts, both two strokes. Dad's choke is different than mine. The way his choke works is you have to have ignition on and with the choke on to start it when it's cold. Mine is, the choke is blue, the ignition is red. As soon as I pull this choke out, my ignition button turns on. So I have to kind of remember that. If I pull this like this for, say, half choke, it's not going to turn my ignition on. I have to manually do that. Same as Dad's. But if I was to do that, my ignition automatically turns on, which is a nice feature, especially when it's cold out. And mine has a primer button. Dad's does not. Just a little new feature. Other than that, they're pretty much similar. Now, I also wanted to include the idea, okay, if you're buying a new saw, there's a lot of chainsaw brands out there. The big three are Jonsred, Steel, and Husky. It's personal preference as to what saw brand you like and what saw brand you don't like. It's all personal preference. It's an opinion-based choice. If you grew up on steels, you're more prone to go with a steel. I grew up with a Jonsred, and I couldn't find a Jonsred saw, so I went with the next best thing, which was a Husky. Now, might be someone in the comments that will disagree with me, but, that's their opinion. I went with Husky because we have a Husqvarna weed whacker. I love it. We had a Jonsred weed whacker that lasted for years. I mean, decades. But we ended up having to get rid of it because it just got old and worn out. Dad saw, if this gets old and worn out and he can't rebuild it, he'll probably go with a Husqvarna. There's not much difference between the two other than it's 65 cc's and 55 cc's. It's a 10 cc difference between the two. And years. That's pretty much it. Both pretty much weigh the same. If you were to go out and say you own 15 acres and you've got some woods and you need to clear brush, this saw is perfect. This saw is perfect. It's pretty much the best of both worlds. You've got the capability to go and cut timber, You got the capability to go cut firewood. You got the capability to go cut brush, maintain fence rows. You got the capability to maintain your property, and it's not an aggressive saw that will wear you out in 20 minutes. Granted, both are pretty aggressive saws, so you gotta work for it, but it's not like you're going out and running an 8 horsepower 40-inch bar that's made for, I don't know, the mountains of Oregon, and you're cutting 7-foot Douglas firs. These are pretty much your all-around saws. I mean, just like my bar says, farm tough. This saw is made for farm work. It's made to go cut firewood, go cut timber, go cut brush, and keep going. I mean, when I first got this saw and I was breaking it in, after about a week of me running it, I went out and I was cutting stumps to get them knocked down so we could brush hog the field. And I put an 18-inch bar with, I believe it was 50 gauge chain I had on it at first. And I put that bar through hell. I mean, I was cutting into the dirt, into the root pack to get that stuff out. And everyone knows you shouldn't cut into the dirt with a saw, but I did anyways because I knew I was getting rid of that chain and I was getting rid of that bar. And I cut that root pack out, cut another root pack out, cut a third one, and then I went and cut, I'd say it was a little bit smaller than this Pennzoil can, so probably, that red bucket right there, size-wise, thorn down. It was a good sized thorn tree. It's about that size red bucket. And the way thorn works is as it grows, it picks up dirt and sand particles from the ground. So it's very, very fine, very tightly packed grain wood. So it'll thaw your saw quickly. So I ran this saw with that old bar, 3 times through a root pack in the dirt, and then went and cut a thorn tree down that was good size, and it cut like it was not even there. So that's why this type of setup, 65 to 55 cc with a 20-inch bar and 58 gauge chain is perfect for whatever you want to do if you're not, I guess like a lifetime logger. This is like the perfect saw overall is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, there's going to be someone out there that's going to disagree and say, well, you need a 32-inch bar, you need a 36-inch bar. Well, 20-inch bar works perfectly fine for what I do. I was cutting probably 4 or 5 foot hard maple in that one video I did, and if I couldn't get through it all the way, I just went over to the other side and cut the other half, and it would work perfectly just fine. But that's pretty much it, guys. I wanted to get this video out there for you guys. It's something that, there's a lot of videos on the 455 Rancher or a Steel or a Jonsred or different like Echo Saw, stuff like that. But there's not a lot of comparison videos between, say, a 455 Rancher and a 2165 Jonsred Turbo. And not a lot of people have the Jonsred Turbo anymore. So I just wanted to get that video out there. Like I said, a lot of it's maintenance. Keep up with it. Dad's saw will last him. I mean, this is going on almost probably 30 years, maybe. Almost 30 years. Mine, I hope I can get that maybe longer out of it. Keep up with it, maintain it. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Definitely know, if you've got your own saw, tell me what it is. Let me know. And feel free to voice your opinion on which one you like, what's your favorite brand, what would your setup be, stuff like that. So yeah, guys, like, subscribe, comment down below, and we're almost to 1,000 subscribers, so keep hitting that subscribe button, guys. Thank you very much. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Brotherhood of Ram, out.